Alright guys, here we are finally for the finale of Season 8 of The Walking Dead, Episode 16, and my god!
What a season, what a season. We've come so far, and here we are,
we
finally
came so
at the finish
far,
line.
yet we also didn't get anywhere.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, a lot has changed, let's put it that way.
What I meant by that is if I can just jump to the very end. I just want to talk about the end for a bit,
okay.
and then we can circle our way back.
We can jump to the end.
So they finally defeat Negan. In a way where you're like, holy shit. So like he broke through to him. Negan seemed to be understanding and willing to almost make a compromise or a surrender or whatever.
He made like a constipated face.
Yeah, like he was really thinking about it. And then Rick slashes him in the neck with a piece of glass. And you're like, holy shit, for a moment you're like, wow, that wasn't exactly what I expected to happen. Because you're like, nope, he's gonna take him prisoner. They're gonna be friends eventually. Some new threat's gonna happen, and Negan's gonna rise to the ranks or escape, and then save him, and then it'll be a thing. And you're like, but no, something I didn't expect. He cut his throat. This is wonderful. I can't believe it was so different than anything I could have imagined. And then Rick walks away. People are like celebrating in awe. Maggie's like, woo, and then Rick's like, save him, and like I'm like. Certainly he's not talking about Negan. Can you just battlefield save a man whose neck you like mercilessly slash with a piece of glass? You slashed his throat.
So let's I don't demand realism from every part of my entertainment, but you hit him in the throat in a way that dropped him to his knees.
Yes, and released his liquid.
And released his precious liquid.
And people have gotten their throats slashed before and lived.
Totally.
And most of them survived because they had modern medicine and lived, now, and were very close to a hospital and good stuff. You have like a rookie doctor in the field with no, I believe, at all items to save him with. I don't know what he
brings, but
he maybe cupped his hand over his neck, applying pressure, choking him to death while he bled. I don't know.
So let's take this one step further. Rick then takes a few more steps forward himself,
yes,
and begins to deliver a speech about how Negan's still alive, but his way of living is dead. And I'm like, I just comically pictured cutting to the wide shot, just this blood, just shooting out of his neck, and Sadiq like, no, I can't, it's too much. Why would you do this? You tore him open.
I would never assume he was going to live or be alive whatsoever.
Yeah.
It wasn't a knife. He used a piece of glass. A, that's thick. B, it's jagged.
Okay.
C, you're injecting a filthy thing into someone's vital organ, which is their body.
But that is easy enough to fix by changing the speech to say, Negan may not die today, but his way of leading or living will certainly die today, right? It almost fits better than well, Negan will be fine, but...
It almost would have been 100%... in fact, I won't say almost. It would have been 100% better for me if it ended right as he cut his neck, and he gives a speech, a modified version of that, and then it cuts to... Negan's in the hospital and they saved him. And you're like, what? They saved him?
I was just going to say that, yes.
What the fuck?
What?
And then it would cut to Maggie's speech of we've got to kill Negan. It was Maggie, it was Daryl, and it was who else in that speech?
Jesus.
Oh yeah, and Jesus. Jesus, who you're like, Jesus was there? Jesus is the only person that makes no sense at all to be there.
It makes I'm so I took all these harsh notes, and I took all this time to try to think these things through and be like, Lee, don't make a fool of yourself. All right, you're gonna go in. This is the season finale. Got to be on your game. There has to be some reason why Jesus would
doesn't
side
even want to
with
kill people that are trying to kill him.
Literally,
let alone kill his friend.
He made them take all those prisoners and jeopardize the entire fight against the Saviors.
Yes.
Maggie fought him at every step of the way. Has anyone Jesus knows and loves been killed directly by Negan?
Well, many of them were killed in their sleep. No, a few moments ago.
Okay, sure.
But we can't directly attribute that to any of this ridiculousness.
And Jesus doesn't have a significant other or someone.
And Daryl is talking is we're gonna kill Rick, take over the camp, kill Negan. Is how I took it.
Yeah.
And while that adds for some interesting drama for season 9.
Maybe not kill Rick, but take over Rick's
I don't think
shall be
you're
overthrown.
gonna do anything that Rick doesn't want to do without a big fight from Rick, and I think you
Yeah.
have to know that going in.
100%.
I don't see why this couldn't have been a thing like, all right, now that this is all over, we will have this camp and run it our way. You have that camp and run it your way. We are friends. We are allies. We are here for each other. But I run my shit my way. You run your shit your way. And there's 3 camps. You can easily do that.
That would have been.
There's
maybe
also 3 camps that
perhaps
people
better.
are already running and would work perfectly that way. Because Maggie already ran the hilltop. We already had the king leading his fucking court. And Rick is in Alexandria. There's not even an issue here.
And Alexandria is like dead or whatever, but he can take over the Savior camp, or they can redo Alexandria at the Saviors.
It's dead, but with no threats, it still has walls. Like
yeah, I don't. They don't have the budget to show enough of what that like bombing did or whatever. But
so we can just never show that set again. You're thinking?
I'm thinking no, but like at the end of the day, right? I didn't get the impression that they systematically knocked down all the walls with like mortars or whatever.
I don't think they knocked down any of the walls
Yeah,
because
they just
I
blew
thought
up houses, I
Negan's
think.
plan was to move into there when they were done. Didn't he say like we're taking over this place because they
may
fucked
have,
our wall or
He may
whatever?
have said something.
I'm 99% sure that's what he said.
That makes sense. I know I do also like remember that, but I don't know anymore how all that factored in or whatever. No, like Maggie being against Rick is the only interesting thing in the episode for me. That was the only thing that I didn't
think
expect.
Jesus being against Rick is the most unexpected thing possible.
So Maggie being so Maggie not agreeing with Rick makes total sense.
If you would have just put Maggie and Daryl together, that makes sense because Daryl and Rick have actually fought this season.
Yes.
That makes sense. They've been doing things.
Headlocks
directly.
are illegal, asshole, right?
Yeah.
They've had actual beef. That I liked, but they obviously filmed Daryl on like a different day or something, and I hated it because they cut to some weird angle. Don't worry about that. Worry about the like Maggie disagreeing with Rick is fine. Maggie plotting to overthrow Rick is crazy, and I did not expect that coming. I don't think I like it, but it was the only like wow something unexpected happened in this episode.
Killing Negan, that makes sense.
She would want to kill Negan,
but she could that could be like a thing like when they were killing sick people in the prison. You just walk up, shoot them, walk away. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah,
I was
weird.
eating peaches or something.
Yeah.
Sorry, pregnant. Whatever.
Lol.
No, just really goofy.
No, like no need. Well, so like maybe just for audience purposes, but no need to bring in someone like. Why does she think Jesus would be on board with this?
And he was though, which is like what the
Jesus
fuck?
spent half the that was Jesus, right?
Yes, and I understand your confusion because it's dumb as fuck.
For a minute, I was like, "Is that good prisoner?" Like, no, they just talked, and he has a very distinct voice. That's not him.
You know how much more sense that would have made?
A lot of
like
sense.
all the sense. Like
Because
all the maybe they thought they had that guy.
Maybe that guy was already on a plane, so they had to film the back of like a fake Jesus' head instead of the back of that guy's fake head.
I don't know what that was, but it didn't make any sense.
Think about that, right? He wants to prove himself to Maggie. He just showed up here. He hates Negan too. Right? Hey, you've
prisoner. Convinced me. I think you've got something much better than anything that could have happened in this episode. I definitely got a little the cheer, clap, yay moments when Eugene's plan came together and all the guns exploded in a line.
Let's talk about the plan though, right?
Sure.
So like the episode recap has the bullet thing in it. We talked about the bullet thing last time.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
Right. So I go, okay, they're going to go with the bullet thing, right? But then as it unfolded and as I thought more and more about it, I'm just like, wait, every bullet is fucked up? He went back and somehow fucked up the bullets that you've already made? Am I to believe that no one fired a test shot except for the ones he instructed him to shoot with the real bullets, and then he had fake bullets and like hundreds of guns or something? That's a horrible plan. What's going on?
Well, I could understand them not doing a lot of test shots just because they don't have a ton of bullets. They may indeed only have the bullets that are in the clips of the gun as it goes.
I know.
So that's fine. I might have not made the very first bullets the bad ones. Like you might want to, and he didn't actually have to make all the bullets bad, just the first bullet in each gun.
Sure.
But
personally inspected by yours truly.
Yeah, so it is a little. My suspension of disbelief was fine there because I'm like, okay, it's fake, it's whatever, and it did give me that woo moment. I'm like, Eugene, you're back, yay!
I didn't get the woos because like it's so like, and we've been talking about it ever since they brought it up. Like it was very obvious, and even when it happened, the way it happened, I was very much. I just want to talk too, really quick. Part of what I think sours me on a lot of the stuff is all those outdoor shots looked like shit. The like direct sunlight, weird framing of all those shots, all that looked super budget and super horrible for a show. Yeah, but for a show that like excels or has excelled at creepy small stuff and doing things, right? A show that I've hated shootouts at for so long. The fact that you couldn't find a way to make that look not so bad. Like when Rick and Negan are talking later next to that tree, they framed up the shots so you can see like miles and miles of rolling hills behind them as like the even light of like the sun is just hitting everything. I'm just like, this is gross. This is awful. Like the farm in season 2 didn't look like that. That's not how things are like supposed to look when they're good.
I didn't like. I think there were so many other issues that like that stuff didn't even jump out at me so much.
I just mean like, so when I see all those dudes in a line, and then it cuts back to like it looked like kids making a like a movie in like the woods behind the like their house. Okay, now get them, go. And just like 2 cars and like shoot from the left. We have to shoot from the left.
I didn't get exactly because it was directly Eugene's idea to line up British soldier style in a line, and I didn't get what the strategic point of that was, because I don't see how much that helps them if the guns were actually working or if they don't work. It doesn't matter where they are if they don't work, right? Because either way they're going to explode. So why not sell it and be like, okay, you're going to be far left, you're going to be far right. When they come up, they're going to see Negan in the center, you're going to pincer them from the side. Like something that makes a little bit more sense. It's weird to be like, we'll be in a line. They don't have automatic weapons too, right? No, they do. Oh. Like being in a line is the worst thing to do.
No, so much of it was just like, you know, you could see, okay, I see where we're headed. I wonder how we're going to get there. Oh, like that? Oh.
But even our heroes were clumped together in a ball in the middle of the open.
They fell directly into the trap, and they were literally out in the open. I'm so sorry. I could talk for hours about everything. There's a scene where they see like the mega herd down in like the valley.
I was like, is that so big? It's like such a like.
It just looked
like that?
It looked like Lord of the Rings
holy
forest,
shit,
fake forest.
Because I couldn't exactly tell how big it is. I'm like, is that hundreds of miles of zombie? Because how are there that many zombies?
Yeah, well, okay, so like the mega herding or whatever, and he says things are changing. I'm like, okay, this will be the next thing or whatever in life. That's fine. But like then you realize like they're up on these hills just crossing in the open. Like they're not going from thing to thing. They're not crouched. They're not like, if you think from like PUBG or something, like you know, they're doing all these horrible, both teams are doing these horrible maneuvers, and like yes, they're not like military strategic people or something.
If you survived for 8 years in a zombie apocalypse, I think you should know at the very least, after the kingdom was destroyed by one large automatic weapon, don't chunk up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Spread out.
So like
that way, if a guy shoots at you and misses and hit your friend, like.
Right. So like again, like such a strange, and like they have a woods. There was all this stuff that happens in the woods, and to do this in broad daylight and make it look so shitty, and have like the intercom system and all that stuff, and then just cut back to the same angle of them. Okay, go up the hill now and kill them. What happened? I'm confused.
Yeah. Negan's original plan that they didn't go with, though, like the sniper and just keep them trapped in there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent plan.
That's a workable plan.
Like that could work. You have to rotate around because they have guns too, and they could shoot you. But I like the idea of trapping people in, cutting off supply lines. How much do they have inside there? Who knows? Let's see what we got here. That could work. And if everyone that pokes over the hill you shoot, you slowly dwindle them down to nothing. That's a strategy.
That's how a force with superior territory and like numbers defeats a smaller force.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like a boa constrictor. Whenever they breathe, you just get a little tighter, and keep them from doing stuff. This was like, let's give them a chance to win. Let's get out. Let's get them out in the open.
And like, it sounded better, I think, on paper, where it's like we feed them this false information, set them up for this trap, da-da-da-da-dee. That stuff only works if you like attack immediately, and like you actually get them off guard. They didn't. At no point did it seem like well, I shouldn't say that. Rick's whole team seemed like they were always not on guard because they're bad at their job. But you know what I mean? It didn't seem like you actually had them in a trap.
No, yeah. So much of this had to rely on so many things. And not even just, like, the cute part, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Eugene has to somehow convince Negan, like, I recommend, like, a pump and dump, in and out strategy where we all fire our guns at precisely the same moment, be more efficient. And he's like, Roger that, Eugene, let's go. I'm like, okay,
but that method does make sense. All your people firing at the same time doesn't give somebody else a chance to return fire.
Sure.
That's classic game strategy.
That's okay.
Again, but why would you put them all in a line altogether? Put them everywhere. It was like they were in a valley. You could have been all around them.
I think it's splatter everywhere. It'd be awesome looking, I guess.
But again, I did like when their guns exploded.
I feel sorry for anyone who was like, "Oh my God, the guns exploded! That's crazy! I can't believe that!" and like didn't see it coming, right?
Oh God, if you didn't see that coming, then you're dumb. I wonder how many people are like permanently maimed or disfigured from that. I wonder if anyone died from that. I don't think so.
It seemed like a bunch of people died.
Do you think so, or do you think they were just like shocked to the ground?
Maybe. I mean, so again, like the whole theme of like we gotta clean all this shit up, guys. Clean up. Get rid of all these people. The bad people, get rid of them.
But like,
shoot all the mutiny guys. Get rid of all Simon's guys. Get rid of Simon. Get rid of all the other saviors except for Regina and a few other people. Right?
He definitely
get rid of
crippled like their amount of guns. Like all those guns are broken. He broke like a fuckload of guns, and that's like you'd think is there another way I could have done this?
No, that excites me, and that's one of my points in here is that like because like. For all season, we've kind of been building to the whole thing, right? At one point, right, I was talking, right, I think, and I'm like, just having a gun should be the equivalent of having nuclear weapons in, like, the post-apocalypse. And I know there's a lot of guns in America or whatever, but there's a finite number of guns, and they break, and the ammunition, and right, so this is the Eugene, like that should be an angle. So,
but
like,
this show is not concerned with anything realistic in that regard. Like, we discovered just recently, my car, I didn't drive it for, like, a little over 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And my battery died just from not driving it for 2 weeks. They're coming across cars that haven't been driven potentially in 8 years, and they just start driving them. Gas goes bad after a
couple of years,
3 years or so. Like I have a gas can in our garage that the gas is dead. It's just water. Well, I don't even know what to do with it because it's fucking spoiled. You throw it on the ground. That's against the law.
So I can suspend stuff for that. I'm just saying that like this is an element that I think would improve the show because I don't like. I don't like shootouts. I don't like the AK-47 shooting
I 100%
and changing
agree with you,
clips
but
or whatever.
that whole premise of them not being concerned with like the obvious things, they're never going to concern themselves with things like guns and bullets and this and that. There will always be guns and bullets.
Well, but so here we just destroyed a lot of guns, right? So
sure.
I feel like it would be a positive direction for the show to make guns or like ammunition scarcer. That's always an element to like a lot of like horror games have that element, right? Resident Evil or like whatever. You'd be finding ammunition like the better games. That's part of the whole thing. Is you see something scary, you want to unload your whole clip into it, but maybe 3 well-placed shots might kill it. So it's that tension of like and then running out of ammunition and needing it later against something even more terrible, and that fits perfectly with this world. We've ignored it the whole time.
If you think about that rationale in the moment, though, where you're like, oh God, because think about it, like real quick. I have to put this thing down because it could kill me. But if I use all my ammunition now, I could die. Like that's a really interesting angle to approach, and they're not exploring that enough. No, you're right.
It's like a push pull to like life and all that stuff.
There should be a constant like flipping open the revolver. All right, I got 4
checking
shots.
The bullets.
All right, I'm gonna use my knife this time.
No, I think about. I think it was in a zombie movie, but I forget which one. I think it was something British or something. There's a shot where the guy dumps out the bullets and he's like sifting through, and it's like that's an empty shell. That's an empty one. Oh crap! Like I only have 3 or something, and loading them very carefully and worried, and then going back out or something like that. And I'm like, that's the vibe. That's why stick guy, sword girl, axe man. That's why that's interesting.
Sure.
But if you have AK-47 dude right next to you, I'm like, well, I'll go with him. He's doing great.
Yeah.
Unless ammo is so scarce that like, well, listen, I have to tap this. It's not even in like burst mode. It's in like single fire mode because like I'm so concerned about this ammunition. All right. Once everything pops off, Eugene gets that look on his face like he's panicking, and Negan's like, Eugene, like Jazz, and is about to throw him out of the house, Big Phil style.
No, and then we get a nice moment from
we get
what's his name?
We get a sucker punch from Gabe, followed by like a pin to the thing by Dwight.
Who's
bound up and stuff, but still
Dwight
like
gets
checks him into the thing.
And did you like how Negan like over the PA is like, now Dwight didn't know he was setting you up. I was like, had you said nothing, we could have got Dwight shot right there, and it could have been this great thing, and Gabriel would have been like, he didn't know, and like this moment, and like, and I thought that would have been more powerful.
Yep.
But I have grown to not hate that character, but I don't want to look at his burned face all the time. I don't know.
That gnarled cheese on your face. No, so let's just talk about Dwight then, because we don't see him again until Daryl escorts him to the edge of town and gives him the speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
how you feel
he
about
gave
this?
him a truck?
Yeah, he throws him the keys, says happy birthday. I got you something. I don't want to see your face around here again. I'll kill you if you come back.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to see him again, though. That's a fact. He went
Of
to go
course.
find his wife. He found another message left by her, so she's, at least was alive at some point.
Yeah, another cryptic note from his
Yeah.
wife who's running around.
What did it say? Like one word or a heart or some stupid thing?
I think it had the infinity symbol, which was a callback to their
Yeah.
thing about always being in love or together or something like that.
Yeah. No way of finding her, though.
Yeah, let's say I'm not interested in this part of the show. It's
How
just,
sweet would that be, though? Like, if you're like this in the zombie apocalypse and you're like every moment is almost dying, and then you find pretzels and beer, you're like, oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, this is so sweet.
I got the best girl ever.
You're the best, babe.
Like that, little things like that. I always think I'm like, dude, like think about like when you're like been out all morning and working or something, and you're thirsty, and you have like your first sip of like cold something or other, and you're like, imagine that in the apocalypse. It would be like that for everything.
I've never worked a day in my life. I never worked an honest day's work in my life. No, I totally agree, and like that's another thing. I really want them to raid a house. Like we got a taste of that with the pudding, but I feel like they
Yeah.
forget this type of stuff. Like, and there was some stuff with Alexandria and like food rations and all that stuff. But I really want people to freak out over like we got a
Yeah.
can of peaches or whatever.
Eugene and
and all
pickles
that
was the
stuff.
whole thing.
Yeah, like I like that. That's the kind of stuff that is interesting about the apocalypse.
Yeah. Like,
That's,
I'd freak out now if you handed me some Dunkaroos. Like, why would I not be any more energetic in the apocalypse?
Yeah, what if I haven't had Dunkaroos in years, and also I'm scared for death, and I'm just eating yams or whatever they're eating, some like horrible,
Turnips?
like turnips, some barely edible raw food,
Some barely edible.
some barely edible food stuff that millions or billions of people around the world live off of,
Or would kill for.
Would literally kill for. Not me though. I want the Dunkaroos.
You want the Papa John's.
Oh man, remember that Papa John's specials?
Oh, yeah, pull aparts.
So they actually open. Speaking of Good Prisoner, which we were not speaking of.
Sure.
They lure away those zombies that were bothering me 2 episodes ago or whatever.
Yes,
Where I'm like,
yes.
why are you letting all these zombies whack out on the outside of the camp all day? This is awful.
How do you like? I want to know what the end of that was. Like, you see them walking with them behind them, but how do they double back? What is their like?
I have
They just like they just sprint and they get away. Like,
I have absolutely no idea, but I assume yes. I
Yeah.
assume they lead them down into like a ditch, and then they jump over the thing or something, or some stupid
Something.
thing. They don't show that because why would you show that?
they take them to the
apparently?
subway, go through the
Yeah.
turnstile, and then they
Oh.
jump back over.
Right? You don't have a ticket to come off this gate. No, something like that, right? But it was a way of
Yeah.
showing the usefulness or whatever.
Sure.
I like, good.
Well, and the
you know-
ability to make them seem like they're traitors for a moment to build a little something.
Okay. I didn't even. I was just like, yeah, this is what this. Yeah, of course.
Hmm.
They're doing something for something, or they made them do something, or whatever.
Yeah.
Later, he talks to Maggie, and she finally gives in. He's like, I've been reading that frickin' book with the windmills. I love it. I want to do that. And she's like, yeah, do that, I guess.
I'm like, that's just sitting out. That should be like locked up somewhere.
I know.
That's the most valuable thing you have, and it's just like, yeah, the person we barely know, yeah, they could have ripped it up into pieces.
Yeah,
That's
why
fine.
does the guy in the beginning of I know, that makes absolutely no sense. The guy in the beginning of the episode who she was like, you're not one of us, don't forget that. He's like, all right, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing
You think
hard-
that would be somewhere,
hard
and
to
at the
get?
very least, he'd have to say, hey, can I look at that? And they'd go, no.
Yeah. Or something.
It was just sitting. It's sitting outside with no covering, waiting for rain. What?
Perfect. We throw it into the cell with the 38 prisoners.
Yeah,
Probably less than 38 now.
that's like 6.
There's so many
Actually, there's
stupid
only one
things.
prisoner. It's fucking Gregory. That's it.
Technically speaking.
Yeah.
Because they're free, maybe? Are they
Yeah,
all
they're free.
They went back to Savior Town.
They're either free or dead. That's what they are.
They're all free then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gregory's not on camera this entire episode because they didn't want to pay the actor the
The
residuals
$6.
for another episode of like appearance. They just talk about him. Yeah, Gregory dropped off the plans. Where is he? I left him back there, off camera,
Fuck Gregory.
just out of frame.
How he's still alive? I have no idea.
Because the world's a random and cruel place where
Such a
anything could
sniveling
happen.
little freak. Like, he's double crossed everybody. There's no way he would not be killed. You can't trust him at all.
Right. He could die.
He should have been in that little powwow. How are we gonna get Rick? Like, what?
Totally,
How are you doing
totally agree, Maggie. Great point. Shut up. Episode ends immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be great. They don't do things like that.
No, I would love that. I feel like we're missing one whole arc. Are we missing that?
We are. I'm saving it.
What do you got?
Gabe jumps out of the car.
Yeah.
Eugene chases after him. This is just to fill in that detail. I liked that scene because literally, if you were playing like a drinking game of like every time Eugene drops a hint, drink, you'd be dead. Because he's like, "Where's your faith now? It seems like when you need it the most, you've lost it." And like, I will shoot you with a handmade munition right now. So help me. I don't think you want that or whatever. I'm like, all right, my God, man, come on, everybody, please. What are we doing?
Well, he was the only one that actually could have got shot because Eugene's gun actually works.
Yeah. Well, that he said handmade munition, though, made me go, like, he's literally trying to draw your attention to the fact, like, don't you remember we've been talking about these things or whatever, and, like, shouldn't you catch on? Don't worry, baby, it's going to be okay.
I don't know if that would have, if I were in the moment, if that would have got me. I don't think that was a big enough hint.
But it was still, like, damn. As me, who was like, just get on with it, I was very much like, wow. And then they fake you out like Negan's gonna kill him. I have no patience for this first date type of stuff. We are married to this show.
I also don't need a blind character on the show at the moment. Like that only adds issues. Is his sight gonna come back?
So I think at the end he says something like, "You've already given me so much. I can see." I don't know if that's metaphorical.
I took that as metaphorical.
I took it as metaphorical as well. But it would be really weird if now he can just see and it's fine.
Well, he always has like the center.
Based on the horrible thing that they showed us, the after effects from season 1 of House, like bubble effect of him seeing. He's not totally blind.
No, and like the center is the most important part.
And he was mostly about talking and counseling people and stuff like that. So that could be his. He was
still able to punch people and run through the woods almost.
Yeah, he still almost got away from Negan and everybody.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think though, like there was no epic deaths for the finale, so I thought, I did think he was going to die right there, because I was like, all right, this is something that have something we're talking about tomorrow, and they didn't really, there wasn't that, like, well, what are you going to talk about? Can you believe Negan didn't die?
Can you believe Negan didn't die? That's actually how I feel about it.
Do you think season 9 has Rick walking around with Lucille?
Ooh, that'd be awesome. I really want stuff. Okay, so Morgan. We should talk about Morgan for a while. I actually just have a list of like every character on the show that I'm going through.
Okay.
So Morgan in the beginning freaks out, almost like kills Henry.
Yeah, he's an insane person.
Home. He's legitimately insane. All right, and then we get with this thing again for like who's writing this show. Now is when Jesus and Morgan have this like bonding thing, right? Where he's like, how about this end for the for the dead, this end for the living. I have a modest proposal.
How about I once again prove that I would never hurt anybody before I do my ultimate betrayal?
Saying that I will turn on Rick eventually.
And then we have Morgan go to the Junkrats fucking house and says like, you're allowed back there. I'm staying here.
So I kind of liked that though, when he's like, you can't be alone. You need people. You gotta be around people. It's all about people. People's what it's all about. And she goes,
not me though.
And she goes, okay, let's go. And he goes, nah, I'm switching with you. I'm staying here. And all that shit. And I don't know if that means he's gonna take like some time off of the show now.
I took it as we will not see him until there's gonna be a moment where like Rick is gonna have like a gun to the back of his head and a bow staff is gonna just hit somebody in the head. Yeah.
So guess what? I have outside information that is gonna spoil this
what do you
for
got? He died in real life.
Lenny, that actor dude has been announced as joining the cast of Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know what that means.
There's supposed to be a crossover episode. I don't know if that crossover is happening on both shows or if that'll be on Fear the Walking Dead. Maybe his character is the crossover. Maybe it's not as epic as everyone thinks.
They tweeted, and I'm not even sure if what that crossover was like originally supposed to be. If it happened this season, I missed it. But they like tweeted that out, and like the replies were very confusing. Like, so this takes place in the past? Like, what do you mean? Or whatever, trying to like figure out what's going on and how he could be joining the cast.
Yeah, because this is 8 years into the apocalypse, while they're how long into it?
I have no idea.
Because that show started before the apocalypse started.
But whether or not he has to leave the show to go do that, he definitely has to not be featured as much to go film that in real life. So I was like, well, there you go.
Well, depending on when the seasons are even filmed on that show. It could be a thing where they're not even at the same time.
Possibly, but it fits too well for me not to think that you're absolutely right and we will not see him too much.
Would have been my guess anyway. And then, so what do you think he's gonna find out things about? Like, do you think we'll get?
No.
Are we just like?
No. Do you think he's gonna live there? Like, and she's like, no, you shouldn't live here because there's like a helicopter, and I live in this IKEA apartment, this
Yeah.
coffin apartment. That's weird. You're gonna be like, well, that's weird.
No, he'll be like in a tent in the middle, like
Yeah.
not notice any of that stuff.
Ugh.
Or he'll hear
Yeah.
he'll hear a song like, what is that? It's her like alarm going off in there.
Yeah. She has a Hello Kitty backpack, and it's full of like treats,
Yeah.
all these cool things. I don't know. I think they'll just be like, that never happened, or something stupid like that.
Well, maybe she'll bring it up in the next season while she's at their camp. Now that we're friends, you can know I was part of a top secret government. I mean, I'm part of the Umbrella
I'm
Corporation.
undercover. We released the virus. I hope it's we released the virus. That would be amazing. Amazingly bad.
I don't know
amazing.
how I'd feel about that.
I just want something to happen, and honestly, like the Maggie thing is like my biggest. That's my fingernails on the ledge of like, well, something interesting could happen now,
Yeah, something.
but
could.
not really, because she even says Michonne too, like we have to form teams now.
Yeah.
Rick,
This is Walking Dead Civil War.
yeah, it's wonderful. And Negan's job is going to be that people can see. He's going to be the proof that things are different.
Yeah.
Now, we had the framing device about Carl and the letter, and they have a stunt kid show up and walk with like a hastily made up Rick to look like Rick from season one. With season one, Rick looked so different than Rick looks now, just because of life. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But yes, and then he reads Carl's note, right? So now he's going to basically write Carl a note back in like metaphor voiceover. That was cute, I guess. I don't know. I hated all that.
Was that right?
I don't like things like that at all.
Meh. Are we missing a character here?
Carl goes back to the kingdom. It's very understated.
That seems pretty obvious, and that doesn't even matter.
There's no dialogue or whatever.
No.
Well, I mean, so like next season's going to open up. Jadis/Anne, Junkrat Queen, is going to just be with
If
them.
they never explain her accent going away, I have to kill someone.
She did it on. Well, she was doing it on purpose, but we just don't know why.
I know.
Yes.
Ugh.
So she's just going to be
One
there.
of life's goddamn mysteries.
This is and this is the one thing I have been saving. So we had a little bit of a build-up
Sure.
to some people that were going to show up and help save the day.
Yeah.
And what happened?
They showed up and they saved the day in the most minimalistic of
threw-
ways.
They threw 3 Molotov cocktails, had no Oceanside, the ladies from Oceanside.
Yes.
Showed up with Aaron and Enid, I think, too. Was Enid there? Or where
Aaron was there.
Where was Enid?
I think she went back and you never saw her again. I don't know.
She's still...
She got kidnapped by people we'll see in season 9.
I think she was still at the hilltop and may have helped people like get underneath something. Point is, Tara stays, the good prisoner stays, the other prisoners stay with no names or dialogue, so they're going to die or something like that. Oceanside, which shows up with Aaron, they throw 3 Molotov cocktails, they have 0 lines of dialogue, literally nothing happens.
There was no
There's a
reason to
cameo
waste
from
it
one
in
later.
this one, because
No,
presumably
it made no sense.
they had a bag full of guns, and there were only 2 bad guys even coming at them. It seemed. I think
There
they
was a
would've been
decent
fine.
little group, but like they had the drop on them. They were waiting, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Give it a minute, and they would just plugged them. Would have been totally fine.
Yeah, it seemed like a waste for like this thing that's been like a build up for a whole season and a half or whatever.
Yeah, so
I was
dumb.
like, oh, good, that was worth it.
Virtually pointless in every possible way.
Yeah, it didn't come in when someone was like about to die. It didn't it was like, oh.
And I think 1 or 2 of them might have been used later in some of like the cleanup phase of everything, but like
Yes.
not really, not enough for it to
Not at all.
And in the scene where they appear again, I don't know if people look at this sort of crap, but like it's like a side angle. It's an angle perpendicular to the action, and they never interact directly on camera.
No,
with
they
the
were not
people.
filmed at the
They're
same
not
time.
there.
No.
So I know that's like a subtle like filmmaking thing, but like your brain can tell they're not there. I laughed out loud. I'm like, is that really it? What?
Yeah.
I start freaking out.
I know they wanted that to be a woo moment, but it was a woo.
No, it's so dumb, so wasted. Things like that make me literally furious and sick.
Yep. Well, and did they take every gun they had when they went there and ransacked that place? I didn't think they took all the guns. I thought they took a lot of guns.
Didn't they have a bunch of guns?
The people throwing Molotov cocktails?
Yeah.
I thought just Aaron had 1 gun that he brought. I thought everyone else just had nothing.
I thought
Like spears and bottles of vodka.
I thought they had guns still. Wasn't that their whole thing?
I thought they still had them at their facility,
Yeah.
but I didn't see any used in that thing. I could have maybe I just didn't see it, but
It's just cheaper to film people that aren't holding things. Or
can't afford props.
I don't know what to do with my hands if I'm not holding a prop gun.
As a finale, this may have been one of the worst finales we've had.
I don't
want to.
I don't want to say the most disappointing episode of television ever. But
no, there are certainly worse episodes, but as far as finales go, there was nothing crazy about it.
I mean, disappointing though.
Sure.
Not the worst. Certainly by far not the worst episode of television or The Walking Dead maybe I've ever seen. But
a little bit of a letdown.
Definitely one of the highest levels of disappointment I've ever experienced.
Yeah, because the fight really wasn't a fight. It ended without like a real payoff. Yeah, just a...
My note after, in all caps right here, episode doesn't end here, though, in all capital letters. Like once he slashes his throat, I like hit the button to see how many minutes were left. And there was like a whole other section of the show that we have to watch now.
Yeah.
As if like there's so much more to do. Like, shouldn't that have been the thing? Shouldn't that have been the ending?
Yeah.
Or if not, shouldn't we have had something better that comes after it?
Nothing better comes after it, and that's not even good. Like, you have what is the last bit? They're in the hospital room, and they're telling Negan like how it's going to be. The last bit is
big long
them,
speech,
is them actually saying how we got to take down Rick. But the last part with Negan,
no,
put pressure on your wound.
He has
what?
to.
I don't think you could even if you put any pressure on that. I feel like it would rip right open. It happened a minute ago.
Right, like he has to know this is not a discussion or whatever. No, yeah, like the ending is this gigantic cleanup thing that we've kind of walked through. Is Good Prisoner says he's been reading the book. Morgan goes to the place. And, Rick talks to Negan.
It was like a Lord of the Rings
speech.
ending.
Yeah,
where I was like,
ending.
you fuck! Why do you keep just showing me things I don't care about?
Yeah, a lot of this would have been like you could have done a much better job of like developing Jesus to fit where you want him to fit.
Yeah, or just not put that character there because it didn't make sense.
Or like
you should have put prisoner there. That prisoner would have made the most sense.
I was gonna have a long list of things, but just thinking of the first one cut me so much. But all these things that you want to happen, right? They set up Morgan. That's fine. He's literally going crazy. You have to get him away now for a while. That makes sense. He's
gone crazy before. That's not out of the realm of possibility for his character.
And you had Daryl wrestling with Rick over the thing with the guns.
They spent a whole season of issues.
Right.
Made sense. Maggie, of course, upset because you didn't kill the person that killed her husband.
And they've butted heads a little bit, and she's grown as like a leader a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's not like a good guy and a bad guy. Because like originally, Rick said like, once the fighting's over,
that's
I'm
what I was
hand
just
going to
comment. I was like, why is Maggie having a revolt when Rick is giving up the reins as soon as this battle's done?
Right. So like, but that was like the setup, and now it seems to be this weird like thing. But I think the writers are changing and they're just dropping stuff.
Yeah.
But if I have to make an excuse, it's that like so like Rick is getting a little twisted, right?
Well, he said all that stuff before he lost Carl. Losing Carl definitely changes things.
And Morgan even called him out, like back there at the whatever with the Saviors, giving that man your word and turning on him, like that wasn't cool or whatever. And Rick's kind of like, come on, bro.
Life's a bitch. Get a helmet.
Life's a bitch, bro. And then, even him, like, betraying or being dishonest towards Negan to, like, get the drop on him, right? It's kind of like Rick showing a little bit of a side of himself that wasn't as much a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Maggie being squeaky clean and, always trying to do the right thing and make stuff better for everyone. Changing her opinion on a few things, including changing her opinion on Rick, which I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is fine. Yeah.
What did they call Rick? It was the widow, the king, and what?
Oh, I've been calling him the sheriff, but no. I think it was just Rick, the king, and the widow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's
we're sort of done, right?
I was gonna say that's pretty much everything that happened in this episode, for better or worse.
So like Rick's Rick, we didn't not much changes for Michonne, not much changes for Daryl. Maggie we talked about. Jesus is in his thing. Morgan did his thing. King Ezekiel doesn't have much going on for him.
He has nothing in this.
Jerry I wrote down because I love Jerry when he's like, we're not conceding shit.
Yeah.
And has the whole speech. I'm like, thank you for your contribution to this episode. Never talk again.
Yeah, Jerry's always Jerry.
I love Jerry.
He's a good character. But he has nothing going on.
Yeah, Dwight we settled up on.
Sure.
Negan, similar situation. Eugene and like Rosita had a little like giving each other the nod.
Yeah, punches. That's for vomiting on me. Fair enough.
Fair play. And Aaron shows up with the Oceanside ladies for no reason.
All right, guys, so that is everything that happened in this episode. Let us know in those comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we will see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.